quick question. Your exit strategy from Gaza, what is it?
Sustainable quiet. I mean, we didn't seek this escalation. Hamas forced it on us. They started rocketing our cities, steadily increasing the fire. I called for de-escalation. They refused. I accepted an Egyptian ceasefire proposal backed up by the Arab League and the UN. They refused. I accepted a humanitarian law proposed by the United Nations. They refused. We'll stop our operations when we can bring back quiet to our people.
Some of your cabinet ministers think the only way to do that is to reoccupy Gaza, which you evacuated from and gave it up back in 2005. Do you support reoccupying Gaza?
Well, I support taking whatever action is necessary to stop this insane situation. Just imagine. I mean, imagine what Israel is going through. Imagine that 75% of the U.S. population is under rocket fire, and they have to be in bomb shelters within 60 to 90 seconds. So I'm not just talking about New York, Washington, Chicago, Detroit, San Francisco, Miami, you name it. That's impossible. You can't live like that. So I think we have to bring back, restore back reasonable, sustained quiet and security, and we'll take whatever action is necessary to achieve that.
But that includes possibly reoccupying Gaza, because a lot of your military planners are afraid of what they would call a quagmire, a dangerous quagmire.
Nobody wants to go to excessive military lengths, but what is happening here is excessive. They're not only targeting our cities, they're deliberately firing thousands of rockets. They've already fired 2,000 rockets in the last few days on our cities. You can imagine this. It's not only that, and they wanted to kill as many of our 6 million Israelis who are targeted as they could. They haven't succeeded, not for lack of trying. It's because we've developed, with American help, and I appreciate the help that President Obama and the U.S. Congress have given us, to develop these Iron Dome fantastic systems. But some of the missiles perforate and they hit our schools. So we have to stop that. But in addition to the rockets, they've got now terror tunnels that they build in Palestinian homes in Gaza. They penetrate underground into Israeli territory. Terrorists pop up there, try to murder civilians, kidnap Israelis, as they did with Gilad Shalit. So we're taking action right now to neutralize those tunnels, and we'll continue the action as long as is necessary.
You see these painful pictures, though, these Palestinian children and these refugees, thousands of them fleeing their homes. It's a horrendous sight what's going on right now. If you look at the images, heart-wrenching. What goes through your mind when you see that?
I'm very sad. When I see that, I'm very sad. We're sad for every civilian casualty. They're not intended. This is the difference between us. The Hamas deliberately targets civilians and deliberately hides behind civilians. They embed their rocketeers, their rocket caches, their other weaponry from which they use to fire on us in civilian areas. What choice do we have? We have to protect ourselves. So we try to target the rocketeers. We do. And all civilian casualties are unintended by us, but actually intended by Hamas. They want to pile up as many civilian dead as they can, because somebody said they use, I mean, it's gruesome, they use telegenically dead Palestinians for their cause. They want the more dead, the better.
The argument that your critics make is that you're overreacting right now, overkilling.
Well, look, I want to say this. I mean, there are very few examples in history of countries that have been rocketed on this scale. If you look at our response, it's actually very measured and trying to be as pinpointed as we can. But I think when people say that, I appreciate the support we've received from President Obama and many world leaders for Israel's right to self-defense. But others are saying, yeah, you have the right of self-defense as long as you don't exercise it. What can a country do? What would you do? What would the people of the United States do if your cities were rocketed now, 2,000 rockets falling in American cities? You know, people would say in the United States, as they're telling me, obliterate the people. We don't obliterate them. We don't have any battle with the Palestinians in Gaza.
But it is brutal there now.
It's very difficult because Hamas is using them, Palestinians, as human shields. We develop anti-missile systems to protect, we use anti-missile systems to protect our civilians. They use their civilians to protect their missiles. That's the difference. So against such a cynical, brutal heartless enemy. We try to minimize civilian casualties. We try to target the military targets. And unfortunately, there are civilian casualties which we regret and we don't seek. They all fall on the responsibility of Hamas.